So Vera, you have 6 felony counts against you.
Yes.
I think this is a surprise to me. A surprise probably to a lot of people that know you. What happened?
Well, I have 2 years ago, about 2 years ago, 2013, June 5th, I wanted to be in the July 4th parade with my group, Citizens for Clean Water, and my friends like Craig Stevens and Ray Kemble, and bring in our water truck to show our community that we're part of the community, we're helping people with water issues, and we have a water truck. And so we're having water delivered to people who need water. And so the theme of the parade was helping your neighbors, so we wanted to be the neighbors listed in our community. So I called up the head of the parade, who is Lawrence Kelly, and he's a lawyer, longtime lawyer in our community in Montrose, and called him and said, you know, I'd like to be in the parade. And he said, well, what do you want to put in there? I said, our water truck, I'm Citizens for Clean Water. And he said, no anti-fracking stuff in the parade, it's controversial. And I said, well, I'm a citizen, I'm a group here. And he said, no. Then I went to talk to other people in the organizations. He's part of, the parade is done by private organizations, Kiwanis, Rotary, and Lions clubs. And I talked to another member of the Kiwanis Club and Rotary Club, and he said, yeah, just go ask for an application and go back. I talked to the DA, and he said, yeah, go ask for an application. I talked to the sheriff, who I know, Lance, and I said, go get an application, because you need an application. So that, like about a week or so later, I decided to go in with my camera. I held it like this. I went with Craig Stevens, and I went to Lawrence Kelly's office, and here in Montrose. He's an attorney, private attorney in our community, long-term. He's also leased to the gas industry. Just about all our lawyers are leased. Our judges are leased to the gas industry. Our DA is leased to the gas industry. And Lawrence Kelly is leased to Cabot and Southwestern. So I walked in with the camera over here, and the secretary knows me, Heidi Mitchell, because she's also leased to another gas company, and I had videotaped her gas sites from the public road above her home and had done a series of videos, and she wasn't happy with me, and she had sent me a letter, I don't know, maybe months before that, or I'm not sure when, I gotta look it up, but telling me to never trespass on her property, which I haven't. I do it from the public road. So she wasn't happy about my YouTube channel depictions of all her gas development. And then I walked in and I said, can I have, hi Heidi, and she was pleasant, and I said, can I have an application for the parade? So she started to look for it in the file, and she couldn't find it. Then she called Larry, and Larry, somebody's here for the parade, can you get an application? And he said, yeah, and he came out of his office, and then he saw me, and he says, aren't you the lady that called me on the phone? I said, yes. And he said, and what do you want to do in the parade? I said, well, I want to do, you know, our water truck. He says, I told you already, no fracking, anti-fracking stuff. And I said, why not? And he says, controversial. And I said, well, you let other people in, or you let all kinds of people in. I'm part of the community. We're part of the community. We want to be in there. And I asked again several times for an application. He said no each time. And then Craig spoke for a while. And he said, well, you let gas people in there and you let other people in there. They're controversial also. Why are we not allowed to be in there? And he said, I don't want to discuss it any further. I want you out of my office. I don't want this in the parade. And then I said to him, well, I'm going to write a letter to the editor, which I do. I write letters to the editor to explain things and what goes on in our community. And he said, just write anything you want. This is my name, Lawrence Kelly. He spelled it for me. And then I said, well, I'm also going to show what happened here, indicating my camera. And he said, well, you don't have my permission for that. And if you show it or something, you will hear about it, something like that. It's on the video. It's a 3-minute video. So I walked out of there, and then 2 days later, I sent an email to our DA, Jason Lake, because I felt my rights were violated. So I sent the link to the video on YouTube, which I put on unlisted, which means I didn't disseminate it publicly. It's part of my YouTube channel, but it's unlisted. And I just gave him the link so he could see what happened. And then I wrote a note. I said, Jason, look what happened. He refused to give us even an application. Can anything be done?
What video did you take at that point? That was like going into the office?
Yeah, going into the office,
okay,
which is the reception room, going into the building. going into the reception room, asking the secretary, talking to Larry in the reception room, and we're all there, all four of us. So to me, it felt like a public space, and I'm only asking for an application. It's not like some kind of private conversation. To me, that's not private. This is a parade application from the head of the parade committee, which happens to be Lawrence Kelly, this attorney. Yeah. So he's the head of it, and then that's why I came in to ask for the application. I was denied an application. He couldn't even give me an application. So at that point, I sent it to the DA, and then the DA didn't respond to me, and he just sat on it. And I didn't know I had committed a crime because I felt I hadn't disseminated it. I gave it to the DA. I wanted his help, and I felt I didn't give it out to the public on my YouTube channel. So then almost 2 years later, I get charges that on May 11th, which is about almost before the 2-year statute of limitations is up. There's this 2-year statute of limitations. I get letters sent to me, and then I hear about it in the newspaper. There's an article because the reporter for the Independent put it in the paper before I even knew about it, and I didn't even get the papers to me because they had the wrong address. So I read about it in the paper, and then I went to the magistrate to get the papers, and it said you are charged for 3 felony counts for each person who was victimized, which is Lawrence Kelly and his secretary, because you did not ask permission and you disseminated the information. You disseminated by giving it to the DA, by putting it on YouTube, but it's unlisted, and 3 counts each. And they're serious, felony counts, up to 7 years you can get in jail if convicted for each count. That's 7 times 6, what is that, 43 years. That's the most they could give, 43 years for doing that. Yeah, 42. So, of course I was shocked, and I said, wow, the DA sat on this. He never told me I had committed a crime. He never told me there was a problem. And all of a sudden I find out it's a major problem. And so this is now I had to answer that.
And the parade, what year was that?
2013.
2013.
And I actually asked twice, 2 years in a row. He denied me each time. So now I have to go to trial. It's a criminal case. So I asked several lawyers about it, talked to people. They said, yeah, you have to go to trial. It could cost tens of thousands, a criminal case, and you might lose, even though there were some issues there that it wasn't really, you can't expect privacy in that kind of a setting. You can't, it wasn't a private conversation, but I could still lose and have to have a jury and all that. So I talked it over, and then I talked to the DA, I said, what's going on here? What can be done? And then he offered me a deal. He says, well, if you haven't been convicted of any other criminal charges, for first offenders, we have the ARD program.
Yeah, I was at the hearing that you had this morning with this magistrate, and you explained to me that it had something called an ARD. Maybe you can remind me what that is, or you can inform me what that is. I'm not from Pennsylvania as you are.
Right.
What's
well,
an
ARD is Accelerated Rehabilitative Disposition Program for first-time offenders with no prior criminal record. And they offered that to me instead of going to trial. So after some thought about it and discussion with attorneys and friends, I decided to take it and focus on my appeal for the civil charges. And this is basically community service for several months, probation for several months while you're doing the community service, and then you can have the charges dismissed and eliminated, not on your record anymore, and then there's some kind of a fine or a court costs. So that's what I decided to do, and I've made an application for it, and then I have to meet with the judge of the county within a month or so, and they'll tell me how many months, how many hours of community service, and what that entails. So that's what I'm doing at this point, and as long as I have no other criminal charges during that period, then they will give me a successful completion of the ARD program.
But all of this is based on the charges that you recorded a short conversation where the camera was in public view, where you went in and requested an application to be in a parade.
Right.
And the secretary said she couldn't find an application. Then she had her boss come out, the attorney came out,
And he's the head of the committee for the
And he
parade.
refused to let you fill out an application. He simply said, I spoke to you on the phone, I told you that we don't want you in the parade. And he wouldn't even allow you to fill out an application, so you'd have a record that you were declined. You would think that would be the sensible thing or the legal thing to be done at that time.
Right, so he refused to give it to me, he refused to sign anything, comment about anything on paper, so probably to cover himself. And I was just verbally told, you can't be in it, even though I'm a member of the community, and others in my group that are part of Citizens for Clean Water couldn't be in the parade because of our anti-fracking position, and he considered that controversial because he's leased his property, like so many lawyers and judges and the DA in our county. They've leased their property to the gas industry. They're all leased. So they want to promote the gas industry or support it, even though myself and others are protesting the harm they're doing in our county.
No reason given other than that you were anti-fracker or anti-gas.
Right, anti-gas and
Does he use different reasons for different people? If I walked in and was a dark-skinned person, he would say, we don't want a black in our parade, so I'm not going to let you fill out an application either.
I don't know. You'd have to try it out. So we have to see if anybody else has been through that they were refused an application. Maybe we can find some gay friends to come in and they can bring a gay parade, a gay float, and see if they're going to be denied.
That's right. Yeah.
You know.
So it's just total discrimination, arbitrary discrimination
Right.
by this gentleman.
Right, and he's an attorney, and he's being supported by the other legal aspects of our whole system here in the county.
And that's why he's doesn't want this video record to become into public notice.
Right, he doesn't
Because
want
that's a record of what happened there that day.
Right, and I have it as a record, and it's unlisted on YouTube, and I gave it to the DA. He has a copy of it, and we'll see what happens with it.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.